It feels like I've been casting the same players a lot, especially over the last couple of months. It seems like it's the same 10 names or so of players that I keep casting over and over and over again. And in a way, I mean, that's a luxury problem, right? Obviously, with the YouTube channel, I can pick and choose whatever series I want to cast, and usually those are going to be the later series that are played in tournaments. However, there's a bunch of fantastic StarCraft players out there just below the tippity top, like these two that I've got for you right here today. I want to start mixing in other players a lot more often as well, because I feel like we're really missing out on some other big names. But anyways, spawning here in game number 1 of today's best of 3 series, and playing with the Red Terran SCVs from the Netherlands, we have uThermal, currently on Lightshade, considered to be the rank 28 in the world. His opponent from South Korea, with the blue Zerg drones in the opposite corner of Lightshade, he goes by the name of Ragnarok, and on Lightshade currently, he is considered to be the number 26. So the number 28 going up against the number 26. I mean, I feel like I've been casting like Bjorn and Raynor and Cyril and Claire. Like, I've been casting the same guys over and over and over again. I think it's time to mix it up a little bit more often as well. I mean, that doesn't mean, though, I'm not going to be casting the other guys as well. But I do think we should probably, probably mix it up a little bit more, right? Yeah, probably not a bad idea. Anyways, one of the things that I always really like about, like, the thing is, I watch a lot of StarCraft 2 as well, so I'm very familiar with all of these players. However, since I don't cast them as often for the YouTube channel, I can imagine maybe some of you have never even heard of these guys before, even though they're ridiculously good. Anyways, they all play a little bit differently, right? So, I still believe that if you were to cover up the names of players, right? So say, for example, it's like, I don't know, Raynor versus Bjorn, and you were to, like, cover up their nicknames, right? And you'd make me guess after watching a game who's who, without actually knowing which pro gamer is playing what at that given moment. I think I would probably still have a reasonable reliability there. I think I would still be able to do reasonably well, just because everyone plays a little bit differently. Look at this. uThermal over here, going double Reaper. This is something that, Maru would never really do. I don't think Clem would really ever do this either. One of the things that uThermal is very good at is just microing his units, right? He's very good, especially at early game Reaper control, so I don't mind seeing this here whatsoever. Anyways, everyone's got their own little variety. I mean, for some players, it's going to be much more difficult to pinpoint who's who, because they play very similar to each other. But this is really like, I would imagine, if I were to see this right, and I wouldn't know the players, I would imagine it's either going to be uThermal or Bjorn. That would go through my head right away. Just because statistically, those guys make more Reapers, I think. At least historically as well, compared to the other Terran players out there. Anyways, I know that Ragnarok seems to be very fond of playing that good old Ling Bane into Ling Bane into Ling Bane into, guess what, Ling Bane. He's very fond of playing lots of Lings and Banes. Anyways, double Reaper going into the main base. Now, this is kind of neat, yeah. Normally, you would have to leave here right away. Link speed is quite late, especially when you go for such a quick third hatch opener. So that means that these Reapers over here can wreak havoc. Look at this. Isn't this already worthwhile? I mean, maybe not quite yet, but he's killed 3 Zerglings. I mean, that's not bad. Well, now it's gonna, it's gonna get a little bit worse. Anyways, it's always nice to have those units out and to throw your opponent off just a bit. Now, one of the reasons why we don't see this all too often, is because of the fact that one of the most common follow-ups, of course, in the early game, after the Reaper shenanigans, is indeed gonna be Hellions. Now, in this particular game, though, apparently it's a reactor followed up with a second barracks, and then also a tech lab, and then finally the factory, then a third command center, and I guess a starport next. This looks a lot like a 16 Marine drop, except it does have a third command center, and it opens up with 2 Reapers here first. So I'm not entirely sure about the timing. Just to put this in perspective, and I love the scouting, by the way, that this provides. Look at this. uThermal is constantly checking out if there's a Roachborn, or like a cheeky little Baneling nest, or something along those lines. Eventually, this Reaper is definitely going to die, but it's already paid for itself. Since he doesn't go for Hellion follow-ups here either, he can be a little bit more aggressive with those. Now, normally, a 16 Marine drop in this particular matchup, basically what you do is you go double barracks, right? You go 2 Medivacs, and then you go Stimpack. Usually that hits right about 5 minutes and 5 seconds, 5 minutes and 10 seconds, 5 minutes and 20 seconds, right? Depending on the size of the map and how clean your execution is. So, I don't really know exactly how much later this is going to hit because of those Reapers and because of the third CC. So the Medivacs will start up right now. I think it's going to be about a good, I don't know, 20 seconds later or so than the conventional opener would be. But the thing is, yeah, I like this. Ooh! Did he see it? Nope, he did not see the third command center. So right now, Ragnarok doesn't know. He decides to go for a lair, decides to go for a Baneling Nest already, as well as an Evo chamber right now. That Evo is rather late. I mean, it's late against the a Marine opener. Usually against Marine openers, it seems that most of the Zerg players are fond of going double Evo Chamber first. Although, recently, I say that, I've seen a bunch of variety as well with these 16 Marine drops, where like all of a sudden there's a bunch of Hellbats. So it's actually a 15 Marine drop. Interesting. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here is that every once in a while, even when scouted, that it is going to be that 2-1-1 opener from Terran. A lot of Zerg players will still go Ragnarok's version right here of, you know, the Baneling Nest and then also the Lair pretty quickly. Anyways, a lot of strategic talk so far. Let us see exactly what ends up going down. In general, right, if you can discuss strategy a little bit more, I'm not a big fan of these openers. The problem is that, yeah, this is just going to get pushed back relatively easily. I like this one better, I guess, because of the third base, right? Since there is a third command center, this looks a lot better here for Terran. But most of the time, whenever we see like a... what we call that? Like a classical 2-1-1. So the most common variant of it basically leads towards, you know, that drop at like 5 minutes and 10-ish seconds, like I was trying to say. That one seems to pretty much, at least at the pro level, always put Terran players behind. I mean, so far, this is actually dealing quite a bit of damage. Nice targeting there as well by uThermal. Picks up pretty much all of those Marines as well and gets on out of there. That was pretty clean. The thing is, since you don't have the Hellions, you don't really do a whole lot of creep denial early on. And obviously, you just don't have... like, I don't know. It always feels... I've seen that build so many times over the years. It always feels whenever it's a 2-on-1 opener from Terran that it pretty much always puts the Terran player at least somewhat behind in the mid-game. So I don't really know why we still see it so often. At least if it's well defended, it shouldn't really be that great. Because as soon as you defend this, basically right now what you can do as Ragnarok, you can continue making units if you want to and maybe do some counter pressure, that works. But you can also just drone up the fourth base entirely. And since there's, you know, not that much as a follow-up, like, I mean, Stimpak and Combat Shield is very late here. Anyways, yeah, it's usually hard for Terran to keep up the pressure in these kind of circumstances. All right. Now, he's been killing quite a lot, though. Ooh, okay. Zerglings were thinking about going for a run-by. You can see uThermal, though, has got a nice setup. So the way that most Terran players do this, by the way, these days, is that they set the rally points of their structures on top of this one lowered supply depot. So in a way, you can still maneuver around your base without having to constantly, you know, burrow and unburrow the supply depot. You can still be relatively safe. But you can also, yeah, keep an eye out on exactly what's going on. And obviously, if the opponent decides to try and go for a Ling run-by, you can just kill it because the unit still formed like a wall on top of that depot. It's pretty clever. Anyways, yeah, as expected here, Ragd is going to go for the 2 upgrades over here. It's going to go into a hive pretty quickly as well, I believe. No Hydro Den, no Lurker Den. Maybe he could go for one in just a little bit. He does still have this big group of Ling Bane here. These units, yeah, these units have been extremely efficient. Look at this. 41 Zerglings have been killed, I think. Well, 37 Zerglings and a couple of other things here as well. But despite this opener, and me, in general, not really being a big fan, I think uThermal is making the best of this situation for sure. It's just that already 4 bases are fully saturated here for Zerg. And this is where Zerg always wants to be, right? It just gives you, yeah, the freedom to drone up. And I think that this base, though, will probably not live. Yeah, no. Baling's a little bit too far out. Also, he needs to worry himself with these Marines that are still at the top section of the map. uThermal very good at that multitasking. Widowmine over here. It's gonna deal some damage to Brenda, the queen. Dude, he is getting some value, though. He's getting some insane value out of those Marines. Really nicely done. Yeah, look. Every single time. Yep, picks up at the last possible moment. As the Banelings roll forward, he kills a bunch of Zerglings. But in the big picture here so far, I mean, we have seen loads of Zerglings go down and very few Terran units. This is fantastic, actually, right now for uThermal. I mean, he's got the 4th command center floating on over. I would like him to go for an all-out assault right now, though, with 2-2 finishing up. I mean, he's also got the armory upgrade right over here. I feel like if this would be... Oh! Baneling Mines. Wow. Did the Widow Mines... Oh, no. 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 Everything was going so well. What was I gonna say? All right, I was going to say, man, it doesn't matter anymore. I was going to say if it was Hero Marine or something, that would probably be a rally point to the center of the map and he would just be parade pushing. Anyways, that was a beautiful build-up right there by uThermal. And then, yeah, it all went to hell very quickly, huh? He's now going to be forced to fall back. That's another thing, though. We don't really see baneling mines very often at all, right? I remember Cyril talking about it a little while ago when someone... Well, actually, a little while ago. I think this was during an offline event. So it must be like a year and a half, 2 years ago at this point. I remember someone asking him, like, why don't you really play baneling mines that often? And he said something along the lines of, I like it. It's in theory very good. However, whenever I try to burrow banelings, I find myself spending too much attention looking at those banelings. And since there's so many other things going on as well, it just creates too much of a distraction. Anyways. Good Widow Mine positioning over here, though. That's so many frickin' banelings. Yeah, just kill that, sure. I don't think that these banes are going to be able to achieve too much. That was a little bit awkward over here, wasn't it? Dude, I love this. Okay. So he's going Ling Bane into Ling Bane into Ling Bane, now into Ultras, but he's indeed mixing in then some baneling landmines as well. We barely have... Oh, no, he's baiting! He's baiting! Oh! Ragnarok! He was pretending that those banelings were misrallied or something. Oh, no. I love it, dude. Yeah, I still feel like baneling mines in general are not nearly as common as they probably should be, though. Because sure, I mean, they might require a lot of attention, and maybe you can make some mistakes and spend too much attention here and there. But they're still absolutely fantastic when they work out, right? Explosively successful, at the very least. Alright. So right now, if we talk on the Zerg's macro, or about the Zerg's macro here for just a little bit. Yeah, he's been happily taking his side of the map. So just good old Ling Bane into Ultras. I like this a lot, actually. I think a lot of people look at this kind of style from Zerg and think that it's very risky. Because you skip Mutas and you skip Hydras and you skip Lurkers and all that, right? I actually think it's pretty much the opposite. Even though it seems risky because Zerg doesn't really have that much tech. Lings and Banes scale really well, especially on creep. And since you only have Lings and Banes, you're gonna have a lot of them. Assuming you actually have your creeps, or your queens rather, hitting the queen injects. So usually with these kind of armies, yeah, look at that. Zerg just has like loads of them. So I think the Ling Bane into Ultra style is very strong. There's quite a few Liberators available right now, though, and Ultras obviously do not like fighting against Liberators very much. He's still gonna try and... Oh, well, okay, yeah, sure, alright. He just rolls into the Planetary Fortress. Spire comes up right now upon seeing the amount of libs. That's a bit late, to be honest. So Zerg is already finishing up the +3 upgrades, and Terran is a little bit later on those. Love this as well, by the way. Look at the burrow usage. So he's putting burrowed units on top of his opponent's future bases. It's very annoying for Terran to have to deal with that, because obviously they're gonna have to scan in order to get rid of it, which takes actions, right? But it also costs them what could have been a mule. It's very expensive. Actually, Spore Crawlers right here used as anti-air against the Liberators? Huh. It kind of works. Oh, sorry. There's apparently a bit of a Ling run by over at the third base once again. Killing 10 SCVs, killing quite a few units here too. Man, this is what I mean, right? I started this cast saying that I really want to cover other people as well on the channel a little bit more regularly. You can see that these guys are playing differently than the players I've been casting a lot more recently. Really cool. Look at all the burrow. There's so much burrow going on in this game. Like, this is more burrow in one game that I've seen from, like, Cero in 5 years. Okay, maybe not entirely fair, but... Doesn't it feel, though, like, for those of you who don't watch regular StarCraft 2, and maybe you've been watching for a while, doesn't it feel like burrow is so underutilized still, after a decade of it being around? Like, it's 100 minerals, 100 gas. You can get it at hatchery tech. So you can get it at the very beginning of the game. Now, I don't think it's very useful at the beginning of the game. Oh my god. Yeah, fully upgraded Lings are insanely strong. Once again, burrow! Look at that! Did you see it? He burrowed a couple Lings during all of that. Looks like Mark certainly didn't see it. I love it. Like, it's fantastic. It's really good. So, obviously, right now, uThermal's like, okay, good. I cleaned that up. Let's go in for a counterattack. SCVs are going to be moving on over towards this base again. 3 Zerglings, fully upgraded. 3-3 with the upgrades, with the Adrenal Glands and stuff as well. I mean, they can kill... Yeah, they can kill a mineral line worth. They deal so much damage. There you go. The amount of scans that it has forced out already is fantastic. Now, anyways... Is uThermal out of this game yet? Definitely not. He just doesn't have much of an economy anymore. So... Yeah, he basically needs to win with the units that he's got, is what it feels like. Well, this is... Okay. Well, he wasn't out of the game yet when I started that sentence, okay? Maybe that was the caster curse coming in. Who knows? In my defense, okay, when I said that sentence, uThermal had, like... I think like 30 army supply more than his opponent, okay? So I think it still counts. Anyways, game number 2 is gonna take us to Romanticide. I know that uThermal actually has been playing mech a little bit on this particular map. This map is by far the best for mech. So, you know, maybe he can mech it happen. Sorry. Sorry, it's really bad. Anyways. Yeah, I love what Ragnarok was doing over there. Just giving us... a masterclass on how to use Burrow effectively, right? Not just for burrowed banelings, but also denying his opponent's bases. I don't know if you actually caught it, but in the top right-hand corner of the map, in the previous game, he had 1 Zergling burrowed on the location where the command center was gonna have to land, but then also 3 Zerglings there. Now, the thing about that, right? I have seen this happen many times before, is that Terrans will send like 3 Marines over there to clean out the 3 Zerglings that are there, right? That are unburrowed. And then they try to, like, land the command center while moving the Marines back. And then they realize that it still did not land, like, 5 minutes later. Okay, well, not 5 minutes later. Like, 15 seconds later. It's kind of stupid. It's like... It's forcing a lot of additional actions, right? You can kind of do the same thing as Zerg with... he's drone scouting, by the way. Huh. You can kind of do the same thing as Zerg with an Overlord dropping creep on top of a future base of your opponent and then also burrowing a Zergling at the same time. Like, Marines will reluctantly move over there, they will gun down the Overlord, then they will leave because it takes like half a minute for the creep to disappear. And then Terran will try to land the command center again, only to find out that there's a freaking Zergling burrowed there too. These are small moves that take for the Zerg, like, I don't know, 5 actions per minute, right? But for the Terran, it's gonna require like 50 actions per minute to clean up. And I feel like over time, as like the game progresses, those moves will probably become more and more powerful. Like, as players get better at macro, I can imagine moves that will stress the multitasking are gonna become more and more superior. I really like it. Anyways, okay, I love what uThermal's doing over here as well. Yep. So, in the previous game, we saw Ragnarok trying to acquire a really quick 3rd base, and he managed to do so. This time around, the scouting SCV decided to stick around for a little bit longer. And now Ragnarok's build is going to be ever so slightly thrown off. He's not really going to care too much, but it's a nice little early game start, I guess, for uThermal. Okay. So let's see what kind of opener he decides to go for this time around. So look at that, right? I guess, actually, I haven't really thought about this too much because double Reaper openers are very uncommon right now. But I'm pretty sure when Ragnarok saw the Reaper, like the 2nd Reaper in the previous game, he probably immediately assumed that it was going to be some version of like a Marine drop as a follow-up. Because when you think about it, if you go for a 2nd Reaper and then the reactor on the barracks, the factory is going to be long finished by the time... It's just awkward. So I guess... I would imagine, I don't know, I would need to check out more replays. But I can imagine if you, as a Zerg player, would see a 2nd Reaper on your side of the map early on, and you know that, like, nothing was produced in between, it's 9 times out of 10 probably going to be a Marine-based drop. It's these little things that these top-of-the-line pro gamers will pick up on, though. So, I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but I can imagine it makes a lot of sense for Terran at that point to go into bio. Anyhow. Ooh, okay, I like this. So there's a quick tech lab over here. I thought maybe he was going to switch that over with the starport, but instead, look at that. He's hiding Marauders. Okay. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see like an armory coming up very soon. So what you can do, right, is you can use this Viking over here to clear out any Overlord scouts. So 2nd OV is going to come up. Actually, this is looking really kind of rough for Ragnarok. If he loses 2 Overlords, and he's going to go up, yeah, against someone with concussive shells, and then also, there's the armory. Hellbats? This is This is nice. This is really nice right here for the Dutch Terran. So I think what this is going to be is like a Hellbat Marauder push. Most of the time, as you probably know by now, Zerg will skip out on the Baneling Nest and on the Roach Warren and all that for as long as possible. So he's going to have like Banelings available, I suppose, but they're not going to be that good against the armory, or sorry, the army that Terran is going for. Now that's a little bit sloppy. You really do want to keep that alive if you can. Ragnarok went for a single Evo chamber in the previous match too, right? That's awkward. We normally don't see that. I like it. Don't get me wrong. Second gas quicker. I guess he goes... Was that melee or carapace first? Yeah, he went melee first then, I think, as well. And then a later lair. Anyways, look at this. Landed Viking, Medivac afterwards, carrying a couple of Marauders. Isn't this cool? Look at this. So these Marauders have concussive shells, meaning that they can slow down units. This is the first time that he shows them. Look at that. One of the queens is immediately going to start taking a lot of damage. Like, good split right here, though. Ooh, on those Hellbats as well, negating a lot of that damage that those Banelings would normally deal. Super sick. Oh, good splits again. It's not easy to do. Medivacs, by the way, can heal Hellbats. They cannot heal Hellions. It's one of the top 10 things that science can't quite explain. Hellions are considered mechanical, and Hellbats are considered to be mechanical and biological somehow. Meaning that they can be healed right here by a Medivac. This is fantastic. Really, really nice push right here from uThermal. I love this. Reinforcing Hellion comes up as well. Right now the Medivac is going to be out of energy, so I think eventually this will be cleaned up. But the question is, at what cost, right? Now obviously, whenever you go for a push like this as Terran, your third base is going to be very late. So he needs to get damage done. But I would say killing 7 queens, 50 Zerglings is already pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. Look at him continue splitting. Oh my god. To rub insult, to injure. Look at this. Oh, good. Bro, just get out of here. No? He's like, nah. You guys were meant to die. There you go. Picks up at the last possible moment. Fantastic little start. Okay, so let's see. Zerg lost roughly 4,000 resources, whereas Terran lost roughly 2,000. Now, the big deal here, obviously, as well, is that Zerg never got at that economy that we saw in the previous game, right? So it was basically even eco there for quite some time as far as the work accounts go. Yeah, not a bad start. Okay, so I've seen uThermal play mech on this map. But I guess with this kind of opener, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do that transition. Mech, by the way, I mean... I know there's going to be some of you that have only been watching StarCraft 2 for like the last half year or so. Welcome, first off. Thank you very much for watching these videos. I appreciate you. If that is the case and you are like, look, what in the world does mech even mean? Mech would be mechanical units. So once upon a time in a golden age of StarCraft 2... the split of the amount of Terran mid-games would be about 50-50 between bio and mech. Meaning that this is a bio army, one that's based around the Marine. But we would see a lot of like, you know, Siege Tank, Hellbat pushes, Siege Tank Thors, Cyclone Hellion. There used to be a lot of variety with the different kinds of builds that Terrans were playing. Now, as patches become more and more figured out, there will be a so-called standard that players will adopt. Right? And this is what we are in right now, especially with the current map pool that's been around for a long time at this point. Ooh, I like this. Going through the bush. Yeah. Look through the tall grass. Apparently you find a couple Marines. Maybe a Pokemon or two as well. Anyways, as patches get more and more figured out and the map pool gets more and more figured out, there will be like a superior style that eventually pops up. Which is why I'm such a big fan of, you know, significant balance changes. Because it usually creates variety and... yeah, there's a time period where, like, it seems like the sky is the limit and everything is possible. It gets a little bit more mundane after this. Anyways, this is... I don't know if I like it. Like, as a Zerg player, I gotta say, I love starting up the +1 melee upgrade. As a Dutch person, however, it really bothers me that these upgrades are not in sync. I know it's irrelevant and I know it shouldn't matter, but my god, is that annoying to look at. Okay, these are supposed to finish at the exact same time. I know some of you watching this know what I'm talking about. Ugh. It's like injecting... Look at this. This guy's crazy, man. The third base was just injected. However, the main and the natural already are finishing up their injects. Everything is out of sync. Nothing makes sense. Oh, well. Oh, well. Ragnarok apparently a bit of a wild card, huh? What a rebel. Not doing everything in the most optimal way possible, but actually playing, you know. Probably more feeling-based, actually. You can see, like, he's not very rigid. He seems to be, yeah, very flexible. I like it. While that little Zerkin counterattack is going on, though, we do still see the big Terran army over here on the edge of creep. I love what uThermal is doing here. This is what Clem likes to do a lot as well, right? We've seen that quite a bit. Where basically you keep, like, 90% of your army off the creep, and you try and push with it. Like, this is a very small army, but you keep, like, a very small army over there. Now, I like what Rag is doing here as well. He successfully identified that's what uThermal is doing. He's, like, inviting him off creep. And he's like, okay, well, if you're gonna go for this kind of aggression, I know it's gonna take you forever to, you know, actually get to my base. So I'll just try and go for, like, an all-out counterattack instead, which I like quite a bit, but it's... I mean, theoretically, I like it. It doesn't seem to be working very well so far. Okay. Lings and Banes. Ooh. Ready to intercept reinforcements. It's a lot of reinforcements, though. Good control here by Mark. Mark is very fast. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, uThermal's super good, man. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Woof. Okay. Anyways, at the same time, he's collapsing right here. The Zerg that is on top of all of the Terran units here in the center of the map. Great splits once again by the Dutchman. What? How are they all just barely dodging those two banelings? You know what I like about banelings as well, or baneling burrows here, is that, like, normally Zerg doesn't have much of a combat mechanic, or comeback mechanic rather, because this is, you know, a clear Terran victory so far, right? But, like, imagine if there would be a couple banelings burrows, like, it's somewhere you can, or it's a way that you can come back into the game, right? There's, like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm, like, trying to put my thoughts into words, the more I like the burrow upgrade. I'm a burrow connoisseur. Okay, so that brings us to the final map in today's Best of 3 series, and that will be Pillars of Gold. Alright, I really hope that Blizzard decides to release some new maps. So a little update for those of you that have been wondering. I talked about it in a previous video not too long ago, but at this point, we have still not heard anything regarding a new map pool. The new season in StarCraft 2 is starting, I believe, April 6th, so a couple days from now, if you're watching this, you know, soon after it goes live. We haven't really heard anything. So I really hope that there is going to be... I really hope that there is going to be a new map pool coming up very shortly. Because it feels like I've been casting these maps for longer than any maps. Like, don't get me wrong, the current map pool is good. Pillars of Gold is not a bad map at all. It's just that I've been casting them for so long. It'd be nice to get a little bit of a change again. Anyways, obviously... if that kind of video, if that kind of patch will be announced, I will definitely let you know in a video. So if you aren't subscribed already, go ahead and do so. I mean, if you're watching this, I actually looked at my YouTube analytics not too long ago, man. Still about half the people that watch my videos, a little bit more than half even, are currently not subscribed to the channel. So, like, I mean, I don't want to guilt trip you into subscribing, man. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to subscribe at all, but... if you enjoy watching the videos, probably a good idea. I might be slightly biased though. Anyways, look at this. I don't know if Rag was doing this in the Oh, okay. Huh. I don't know if Ragnarok was doing this in the previous games. So he sent out the drone scout at about 45 seconds. And basically what you do with that drone scout is you look around the base and you're like, okay, is there a proxy going up? I guess there isn't. And then with the drone scout returning, he finally took the gas at 21. Now, to put this in perspective, normally we see the gas going up after a 16 hatch, and then an 18 gas, and then a 17 spawning pool. So this means that the gas is going to be very late. I don't know if he did this in the previous games. I don't think he did. I probably would have noticed. Anyways, maybe I wouldn't have. Either way, this drone scout allows him to send this overlord right to this pillar, which is kind of neat because this one scouted the incoming Reaper right away. So normally the second overlord is used for scouting as well, for proxies and stuff. I mean, you can still kind of do it, I guess. But you can use it in a more helpful location quite easy. which is nice. And obviously you know if you're going to get cheesed or not. I guess if you get cheesed, if you do find yourself a couple of barracks on your side of the map, you don't really need to have any gas. Right? At that point, especially on a map like this, you can just build a couple spine crawlers. You'll be fine. I mean, 3 spine crawlers seems very excessive, but you get what I'm trying to say. Nice moves here, though. Once again, like, this is a Zerg player crossing their fingers, hoping that Terran's not paying attention. Pay attention. Good. Very good. Yeah, this is annoying. Look at this. Already an extra queen has been started up. We see the double overlords, apparently a 36 supply. He was really banking on that third going down. Now, eventually he did get it, but not at the preferred timing. Anyways, let's have a look at the Terran build over here. So once again, looks like we have a quick third command center. That's nice. However, in a more classical way. So Tech Lab starts up right now as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see the switcheroo over here to get the starport on that Tech Lab instead. And then obviously the Hellions are already being pumped out 2 at once. Now, fun fact, do you want to hear? Like, this blew my mind when I first heard about this, okay? Ragnarok already knows that it's more often than not going to be a third CC opener. This blew my mind, okay? I didn't know this until very recently. Usually, Terrans... Okay, he will know right now. Usually, Terrans will start up depots at the front right around the 4-minute mark to make sure that they don't hit a supply block. However, if you go for the third CC before the starport, you don't need that depot yet because a command center, in a way, is like a big supply depot. So without scouting anything, Ragnarok probably knows right now that it's a 3cc opener. Isn't that cool? I hope I blew at least one Zerg player's mind there. So next time you're playing a Zerg versus Terran and you're seeing a lack of depots at the front, at the 4-minute mark, 9 times out of 10, in my experience at least. Well, I mean, there's one over there right now, but it's quite late. It's going to be a triple CC opener. There you go. I don't know exactly what the normal time for it is, but... Alright, so already, yeah. I mean, he has seen exactly what's happening right now. There's a couple spore crawlers coming up. Apparently this one was expecting a liberator over here. I think that this one will probably be moved to the center of the mineral line as well. Lara's gonna start up here too. Pretty late Lara, actually. That Lara's very late. Yeah. Some slight deviations here in the standard. Maybe it is because of the fact that he scouted this, though. Hello? Hello? What? Hello? That's sloppy. There's no better way to say it. So you really want to keep those Hellions alive because of the 1-2 punch, right? Banshees in the main base, force the Queens to go to the main base as well. Especially since there's no creep over here. The Queens would take forever getting over in that direction. And then the Hellions can pop into the third, right? I mean... Did he accidentally make a second Baneling Nest? I don't know if he needed to kill it, though. Okay. Anyways, okay, so this time around, it is going to be a Spire here as a follow-up as well as Baneling's Feet. Yeah, that was not ideal. Alright. So how many drone kills are you looking for here as Terran? The answer is yes. All of the drone kills, okay? Hellbat push. Okay. Yeah, imagine 3 more Hellbats over here, huh? Would not be bad at all. Okay, you know what? He's making the best of it. I was already talking as if uThermal was out of this game. Against someone like Serral, he probably would be in a load of trouble. But you can see Ragnarok here is slipping up here and there. Still allowing his opponent 7 worker kills. That's very significant, considering he got the Hellions for free, so the Queens could go wherever. And, you know, since he scouted exactly what his opponent was going for. So, yeah, 7 worker kills, definitely not bad. If you could force the council on this, that would be even better. Okay. Yeah, uThermal is usually really on top of his unit, so it must have just been a bit of a misrally there. Okay, so Mutalisks are going to be the name of the game right here. He's going to be able to make about 8 or so of them at once. Mutas are really good, assuming you can control them really well. That's a big assumption. That's also the reason I don't really play Mutas that often myself. They're fantastic units, but they need permanent babysitting. Now, I love actually what's going on as well. uThermal has been doing this, I think, every game so far, where he scans the opponent's natural. I remember him doing that, I think, in one of the previous games. Anyways, he's been scanning the natural expansion, but he hasn't found the spire, which is over at the 3rd, which is a pretty uncommon location. We've seen actually spires being taken over here as well, or like right over here, in like awkward spots where a scan would not just reveal it. I kind of dig it. Anyways, they're going to be revealing themselves right now with the Hellions moving around the map. This is... feels very inefficient, actually, to be chasing Hellions with Mutas. Like, he saved up money to make like 8 of them at once, and now he's got 100 minerals worth. Whoop-de-doo. Delaying upgrades and everything. Man, that's a lot of Hellions, by the way. How many are we at? 14? He's lost 4 of them. Wait, he's made 18 Hellions? I wonder if that's the reason why we see the Spire. No, I don't think so, right? Maybe. Mutas are quite good against mech, even though it can feel a little bit backwards. Normally we see like 8 Mutas, or sorry, 8 Hellions at most. This is a load of Hellions, more than we normally see. Now, Baneling Speed was acquired there by Ragnarok, which will help out quite a bit. There's only 1 siege tank, though, because of this opener. What a crazy situation. Once again, though, yeah, we see units going in straight for the counterattack. The start base is basically unprotected. Hello, go, 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 go. No, I think you go over there. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. At the same time, though, Terran's moving forward over in this direction. He does see right now that Baneling Speed is done. New base has been acquired in the top left. Both players apparently are going to give up their 3rd base. Interesting. Or actually, I guess this was a 4th base. I mean, giving up a 3rd base for a 4th base is going to be an advantage for the player with the 4th base given up, right? Like, I guess the command center lives. Yeah, you know what? Actually, with the command center living, I guess it's fine, especially since this base is quite late. Anyways, in order to fight this natural, though, yeah, uThermal's gonna have to spend a lot of time on creep. And yes, his splits are very good. Oh my god, I don't like this move. He's gonna lose a lot of units here. I think this was a little bit of overextension. Siege tank will desperately try to roll back home. It used to have friends once upon a time, but they marched all the way until the gooey stuff. I don't think I like that move too much. Nah, that was way too far forward. Anyways, these mutas haven't really gotten too much done yet, though. I feel like just pure Ling Bane probably would have done better. So, he's got 17 mutas. He's still adding on more. Okay. Terran is going to finish up 2-2. I love the fact that uThermal is still on top of those upgrades. These are easily forgotten in situations like this. He can go for a really nice attack right when +2/+2 finishes. The mutas are going to try and prevent that from happening, though. So, yeah, uThermal starts up even more missile turrets. He's got a whole load of missile turrets here. I love it. Okay. There is no 4th command center. 16 kills, by the way, on this Banshee. A lot of that, I think, is circling as well, but... Anyways. Oh, no. Not the siege tank. Oh, not the... Oh, that sucks. Carl, the changeling, pretends to be a marine. What a guy. Somehow, some way, he makes it happen. Yeah, these mutas are now picking off a couple of units too many, though. A few medivacs here and there. We've now seen a handful of siege tanks go down as well. Once again, this is something that Rag showed as well in the first game. Yep, he sets up a massive amount of Ling Bane in one of the corners of the map. And I think he's going to send those in as he sees the army disappear. Right, so he knows right now that a lot of the Terran units are on the other side. Constant counterattacks. I love it. Mutas obviously can always go home as well. Still in time to defend this. uThermal a little bit indecisive there. Wanted to go back. Can he actually even defend, though? This is so many Lings, Banes, and Mutas inside of his base. He's going to be able to pick up, Ragnarok that is, all of the reinforcing units. Sure, this hatchery will be once more... he's just going to run away, right? He's going to just abandon it. That's the word I was looking for. But it's fine. I feel like you just take that base instead. Ay. Nice moves right here by Ragnarok. uThermal, I mean, he's moving deep onto the creep once again. We saw how that went earlier. This time around, the mutas are still on the other side, but the siege tanks are all the way in the front. Banelings don't really want to roll into that. Okay. Yeah, just back off. Wait for the reinforcements to show up. Ragnarok is going to get himself more and more Banes. The main base has been cleared out for the most part, so most of the Zerg units there are gone now. But uThermal is starting to drop very far behind right here in the supply counts. Making the best of this situation over here. But right now, there's more Medivacs than Terran units on the ground. And I don't think that's really where you want to be. Now, this is nice, right? Taking a page out of Bjorn's book. Bjorn's very obnoxious with those little marine drops. I love it. But uThermal must know as well that this is not a situation that's particularly good. Mutas right now have come back home. They're going to be able to kill reinforced, retreating Medivacs as well. Okay. So, let's look at this objectively at this point. 87 Zerg drones. 55 Terran SCVs. 5 base Zerg economy. 3 base Terran eco with the main base essentially done for. Natural expansion also pretty much done for. Now, the same obviously can be said for the Zerg's beta natural, but they have a whole lot more to mine from. This is going to be very difficult to get back into at this point for uThermal. His army is not that big, although still definitely something he can match the Zergs with. I don't think it's big enough to really step onto the creep. And obviously that's what the Zerg wants, right? If he can fight this on the creep, that would be fantastic. Speaking of which, though, there is a little bit of a creep spread lag. So there's really not that much over here. I would love to see this entire terrain covered. That would be, yeah, same over here. That would be really nice for him. Obviously, when you play such a heavy Ling Bane style, though, you need to get... yeah, look at the queens. You need to make sure that you get the queens in the right places, and they need to be injecting bases if you want to get some work done. I think right now, though, Ragnarok is looking at this. He's like, okay, I don't really care anymore about the creep spread. I can just go and try and win. He does have a lot of Zerg units. Widow mines, okay, do not burrow in time there to get a detonation off. Okay, yeah, there it is. There's just way too much Zerg. Ragnarok managed to swarm his opponent, and with that swarm, he obtained the victory. Hope you enjoyed watching today's video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you didn't, feel free to hit that dislike button. And like I said already, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That way you get notified as soon as future videos go live. For now, though, have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.